So with visual art, it's important to understand how to create a basic visual story map. And a visual story map can be something as simple as creating like a cartoon grid and putting a stick figure drawing for each of your divisions. It could be that simple. But as in the case of my friend, Debbie Topliff, she's an artist that will paint a mural as tall as this wall that tells the entire story of the book of Mark or the entire story of the book of Acts or the entire story of Revelation. And they're incredible. And her murals begin with a story grid. She doesn't exactly use basic strategy of comic strip. She will use a design that she puts on this mural on the wall where she might have the story begin in the center and then move down and go in a circle around the entire image of the mural in order to create her story grid for her recall. And what blows my mind is she can look at those paintings and tell us the story that belongs to that part of the painting. It's amazing. Another thing that is used is henna art. You can go to hennastories.org. And these are a beautiful way of using henna to tell a story on the hand or the feet. And they usually start up and work down towards the fingers. And the art will visually tell the story as it moves up the hand. And the fun thing is at hennastories.org, you will see that they have designs from Africa and Asia. And so that you can see the different forms of art that they might use to communicate what would the Spirit look like, or what would Jesus look like in a floral form. And so it's kind of beautiful to see the way that they will use henna to communicate. One of the other strategies I will talk more about in another video is using symbols. Sometimes the concepts just aren't possible for us to create in an image that just makes sense. And so I will then create a symbol to help me with that concept for recall. But we'll look at that more later. The key is that when you are creating your story visual map, it makes sense to you. My story grids may not make sense to you when you look at them because you weren't in my heart and mind as I was studying that story. And I'm using visuals that are my cues to help me. So it's not about the listener being able to see my art and tell the story at this point. It's about me as the storyteller creating an image that helps me for that division to remember what's in that section of the story. Now, some of the things that I teach my students that they need to make sure that they do, you want to be consistent throughout your story grid so that you're always using the same figure, symbol, or design for the same concept. And if you're using stick figures of people, if they're the first one to speak, have them be the first one in the image. Simple things like that will help you with the story recall. It's a lot of fun to create a story grid, and I would love to see what you do. Maybe you would like to go and pick up, say, a story in the book of Acts or one of the stories in the Gospels and create a story grid. Feel free to send them in and let me see what you make. It is a lot of fun to create story grids for the Word of God. Shalom, y'all.